focusing today on breath as we always do on a Tuesday. Let's start off in a standing position. And as always, mobilizing the spine, getting the body activated, getting the energy flowing around the body, creating space for the breath so that we can then focus on light, easy, effortless breathing. So we'll start off with some mobilization. We'll do a couple of Qigong flows to really help open up the space, and then we'll do some resonance breathing at the end of the session. A little bit of bend in the knees, tall spine. We'll start with knocking. So the idea of this is to be really strong through the legs, connected to the ground, and light and lifted through the upper body. And from a biomechanical point of view, we're getting the spine to move rotationally. So if you think of each vertebra just rotating one on top of the other. And we're just letting the arms relax, paying particular attention to relaxing the shoulders. This is where we can often hold a lot of tightness and tension in the shoulders and in the neck. So really just letting go. Tapping the arms across the front of the body as the elbow naturally bends. And just tapping back of the hand, just on the back of the body. Our breath is just natural, so just let the breath be easy, in and out through the nose. You're not having to breathe in any particular way. When we're focusing on the biomechanics of breath, we often just think about diaphragm. Yeah, use the diaphragm to breathe, intercostal muscles. But remember that the whole body is involved. So the feet and that connection to the ground and how you connect to the ground will all affect the rest of the structure above. So we can't just compartmentalize and just focus on the diaphragm or just focus on the rib cage. Where your head is balanced on top of the spine will make a big difference in how you breathe too. If your head is pushing forward, quite often it means that the way you pull breath into the body is to open the mouth. If you get your head balanced on top of the spine, it's much easier just to keep the mouth closed. So it makes it easier to just let the breath be light, soft, and naturally in and out through the nose. Keeping the rhythm and the momentum, the arm that comes now in front of the body, just create a very light fist and just tap just underneath the collarbone. So we're tapping on the top of the lungs. Just gently. And this movement, the upper body movement, is coming from the lower body. So I'm not having to physically hit my upper body. It's just literally the momentum coming from that rotation through the hips, the drive from the ground. Really relaxing the shoulders. Just waking up top of the rib cage, the lungs. Think also where your lymphatic glands are as well. So lymphatic drainage is assisted by breathing. There's no pump to drain the lymphatic system. So movement and breath will help to rid the body of toxins. And then we're going to cup the hand and come onto the shoulder. So this is nice, get rid of any tightness or tension in the shoulder. Your hand is just cupped like that. So you're not hurting yourself. You're just triggering some of those acupressure points and just getting the blood flow to those areas as well. Backhand is still tapping across the back of the body, across the kidney area. And then coming back down to rib cage or lung point. Really relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the upper back. And then back down to belly. Slowing it down into water waves. So now you can bring a little bit of resistance to the movement with the arms, but go really slowly. Slow it down. It's almost like you are pushing through dense air in front of the body, behind the body. You're rotating, you're spiraling the wrists, the elbows, and the shoulders. And just feeling the slower you go, the more you can sense and feel the air as it runs through your fingers. And then take a rest. So just come to standing in a comfortable position, usually about hip width apart. And sense now, just have an awareness of that nice enlivened sensation throughout the upper body, the nice tall spine, maybe some tingling sensations in the arms, in the shoulders, in the neck, in the rib cage, where we've just created some activation, got some movement going on, and blocked any tightness, any tension. Step back out. Bit more bend in the knees now, spinal cord breathing. So here we coordinate the breath with the movement. As we extend and look up, we breathe in through the nose. And as we curl up into a little ball, we breathe out. Go at your own comfortable pace. Make it smooth and slow and controlled. Breathing just the right volume of air. So I'm not pulling breath in. In fact, the breath can still be very quiet. Shouldn't really hear it. In fact, almost the movement and the opening up of the rib cage here will just let the breath, the energy flow into the body. Quite often when we focus on breath work, we feel we have to be doing something. But a lot of the time it's awareness and just allowing things to happen. I'll show you from the side. I'm extending, so I'm tilting my pelvis, so I'm spilling out of the front. And then I'm tucking my pelvis under, so I'm curling up into a little ball. So squeezing the glutes. And then extending, keeping the knees bent all the way through. And this is getting the spine extended, opening up the rib cage, and then flexed. So we're getting all of that movement front of the spine, opening up the front of the spine, and through the back of the spine. To the neck also. So extend, looking up. Bringing the elbows back so we open up the front of the ribs. Let's do a couple more. And then take a rest. Shake out if you need to shake anything out. And just stand for a moment. Again, just check in. Notice, be aware of any difference you may feel. Adding that extra extension and flexion. Step back out. So to conclude our spine mobilization and enlivening, we'll do our lateral flexion. So we'd move the spine in 6 directions. Dog wags the tail, so a little bit of bend in the knees. We're shifting the weight. When you shift the weight, watch that you're not dropping the opposite hip. So I'm not shifting the weight as in doing this. I'm literally shifting the weight across. So the pelvis is almost parallel to the ground as you shift the weight. And then you let the spine wave on top. So it's quite nice to focus in particular areas of the spine. So if you focus on the lower back, so just notice that lateral flexion, that side-to-side movement of the lower back. And then you can work your way up. So you're coming up to the mid-back, base of the ribs, and then upper back, and then coming into the neck, which is often the area where it's a little bit more challenging to feel that freedom of movement in that lateral flexion. But really focus on just allowing it to happen rather than trying to make the movement or overreaching with the movement. Nice and soft and easy. The idea is strength through the lower body, so really strengthening the legs, but actually just feeling that lightness through the upper body. You might get some clicks, you might get some crunches. And slow it down. Really with that one in particular, spend time just noticing where you're holding tension, because you'll notice it almost blocks in certain places, or where you might want to start leading, because it's quite common to think, all right, I'll start working the shoulders, so you're leading with the shoulders, or you're thinking my head's not moving, so I'll start moving my head. So really get that idea of it just being a spine wave coming from the strength and the power of that lower body moving. So that's a really good way of mobilizing the spine. Let's do a little bit of focus on the diaphragm and the intercostals, the breathing muscles. Let's just bring our hands over the lower abdomen. So just check in to make sure that you're balanced, that you haven't got your hips too far forwards, which often happens when we're in a standing position. That's exaggerating a bit. Bring the hips over the ankles. That allows you to balance the spine with lightness on top of the really strong lower body there. And get the head balanced on top of the spine. A little nod might just help with that. And let now this lower abdomen area soften. And notice as you breathe in, there's a softness about this lower abdomen area. It's almost like you're breathing into the hips. With the breath at the moment, just keep it relaxed. Just keep it natural and in and out through the nose. So just allowing the body to breathe naturally rather than you doing anything in terms of breath. So just feel as you breathe in that little bit of give, if you like, in this lower abdomen area. And this is really subtle. And again, I will say this is something that I've only been exploring over the past year or so, because it's quite often we just hold tension here. And we often think of belly breathing as down here or up here in the upper abdomen. But see if you can just give a little bit in that lower abdomen. This area here in Qigong is called your lower dantian. So it's seen as your center, your energy center, your center of gravity, really grounding and centering yourself. True deep breath. Just follow a couple more breaths. And then just take a rest. Shake out, move around. It's surprising how suddenly you realize just for those few seconds almost, how you can really strengthen your legs in that position and how you can tune into where you need to keep balanced to allow the breath to be natural and soft down here. There's obviously a little bit of tension here in the fact that you're not just letting everything go, but we want to find that balance between how we need to stabilize here, but how we can soften and breathe into the hips here. So really explore that. The next sensation or the next awareness is much easier than that one. Bring your hands onto the lower ribs here, so the floating ribs. You can bring them onto the ribs or maybe just a little bit underneath. Get your thumbs into the back of the ribs there. Find balance again, so making sure that your posture's good, that you're standing tall but not too rigid. And now with the breath, let's just increase the volume slightly. Now when we increase the volume, here we're deliberately, consciously controlling the breath to create movement in those lower ribs. So when we increase the volume, we'll just slow the breath down. We'll breathe in and out through the nose. So take a breath in. And breathe deep down here so that the ribs expand out. And then breathe out through the nose and just squeeze the ribs in. So you can use the hands to actually help create a little bit of resistance so you can feel the movement. So this is a practice, an exercise to actually deliberately feel that expansion of the rib cage moving laterally again, so coming out to the side. So breathe in, push those side ribs out, breathe out, squeeze the ribs in. and go at your own comfortable pace. Just follow a few breaths, taking a fuller breath, so we're really exaggerating that rib cage movement, breathing into those lower ribs so they move sideways and out, and breathing out, squeeze them in. Couple more. What we have to be careful of when we're doing this one is that you don't hike the shoulders up. It's very easy to think I'm taking a fuller breath, so you pull the shoulders up. So keep the shoulders down and breathe deep and full. Let's do one more. And take a rest. So just to really clarify, when we're talking about a deep breath, it doesn't have to be big. So just by holding and feeling the awareness here on those lower abdomen, your breath is going deep into the body. So your breath is moving the diaphragm down as you breathe in, which is having a response here in these lower abdominals. When we're taking a fuller breath, we're deliberately increasing the breath just to create a bigger swing, if you like, with the ribs. But we're doing that slowly so we don't end up breathing too much air, that we don't end up over breathing. And let's just go on to the back of the body now. So feel that area in the kidneys. So again, this is quite a challenging one, but we'll take a fuller breath. Feel that you breathe into the back here, right underneath the ribs. Get a little bit of expansion in the back of the ribs. As you breathe in, you can do a slight tuck of the pelvis. And then as you breathe out, you can stand tall. So I want you to get that movement into the back of the body, into the kidney area, breathing into the back of the ribs. Get some movement there. And we're deliberately increasing the volume so we can create a bigger movement. And think of all of this practice that we've done with the lower abs, the lateral movement of the ribs, breathing into the back. Just think how that is massaging all of your internal organs as well. So it's like giving your body a good internal massage. And you may feel movement in one side, but not as much in the other side. So you can then maybe focus on the side where maybe you don't feel as much movement. Couple more into the back of the body. Get some movement going there. We know with COVID, they're turning patients on their front so that they get breath into the back of the body. There's a lot of oxygen uptake, a lot of space there that we're creating to actually allow the breath and get the oxygen into these lower areas of the lungs. Come up to standing and give the body a good shake. So shake out the hands. You can tap the heels into the floor if that feels good. Let the shoulders go. Relax the upper back. Relax the lower back. And let's take in a few full breaths through the nose and just a nice sigh out. So it can be breath in And this is a really good way of releasing any tightness and tension, both physically and mentally. So breath in, let go. Let's do one more. Breath in, and then slow it down, slow it down. Come to standing. Should be feeling lots of nice tingling sensations through the body, the blood flowing, the energy flowing. Just let the breath be easy, just let the breath be natural. Face relaxed, jaw relaxed. And then come back out to standing. And we'll finish off for the next 4 minutes with a combination of a Qigong flow movement, but with the idea of resonance breathing. So resonance breathing is 5.5 to 6 breaths per minute is seen as the number of breaths per minute that is really optimal in terms of a practice. This is not what you should be breathing all day long. So don't worry if you're monitoring your breath overnight and it's showing a higher breath rate than that. It will do. You're not breathing 5.5 breaths per minute as you're moving, as you're walking, as you're running, as you're cooking. It's just a practice. But what I like to do is to combine that with a really simple Qigong move. So we actually do the movement of the rib cage to help with the breath, and the breath helps with the movement. So we'll do the move first, and then we'll just do a count of 5 in and 5 out. So palms come up to this position here. No, they don't. They come to this position here. Sorry, get it the right way around. So you're pointing your hands towards the ground, opening up. Notice when you open up, notice how you get that natural opening of the rib cage. Palms face upwards. You connect your index finger and your thumb of both hands, and then they come back to center. And then palms face down, come out, palms face up, come back to center. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And in, and out. So I'm counting roughly 5 in, 5 second in, and 5 second out. And if you can settle into that rhythm, that's great. But if it starts to cause stress, or if it starts to cause air hunger, or if it's too quick or too slow, then just take a little bit of rest and just breathe easy and just move at your own pace. So maybe you can go a little bit slower, but just for the purposes of the idea of the resonance breathing, 5 in and 5 out. Notice how the upper body and the lower body are connected. You might feel as if you raise up a little bit on the feet there, and you might soften a little bit in the knees as you come breath out. So you can raise up a little bit and out. So it's not just an arm movement. The spine extends, the rib cage opens up. Let's do 2 more. And then just relax the arms down by the side, pulling down the sky, bringing the hands to lower abdomen again, bringing the feet together, just taking a moment to center yourself. Nice smile for the day, all prepared for the day ahead. Have a fabulous day. Really good. Thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the session. And I will see you on Thursday for our movement session. Have a great day. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.